So today we thought we would sit down and talk a bit more about our choice to be child-free and specifically some of the more difficult parts of that decision. So welcome back. If you are new here, I'm Steph. This is Katie. We are Let's See the World. We are a married lesbian couple from Vancouver, Canada. And thank you for being here. Yeah, and if you haven't seen our other videos or didn't know or haven't seen us talk about it, we are not having kids.
What?
So that is a decision that we've made and we've talked a little bit about because I think it's not something that's talked about enough, is the decision to be child-free and to feel good about that. And it's just something we want to chat more about, try and, reduce the stigma a bit and just open up some of those conversations. And today we wanted to talk a little bit more about just like what that really looks like and kind of open up about some of the more difficult things that we, have to navigate as a couple who is choosing to remain child-free.
Yeah, we've definitely put out videos and reels and posts in the past about all of the ways that we celebrate being child-free, which of course we love, and there are lots of perks for us personally with our decision. But there are some realities as well that a lot of people might not think of or maybe don't talk about. And so we did want to shed a little bit of light on those as well.
Yeah, I think one of the main things we've been talking a lot about amongst ourselves the past couple of years is that we're kind of, reaching this new phase of adulthood where we're in like our mid to late 30s now, and we're not really getting the questions as much anymore of like, are we going to have kids or when are we going to have kids? Because if we were going to, we would probably be doing it by now. And also, our friends who are having kids, they by now either have them or they're actively trying to have them or planning to have them. And so we've been talking a lot about like how it feels to be the only ones who don't. And among lots of our friends, it is starting to feel like we are the only ones who don't have kids. Mm-hmm. And as much as we obviously love our relationships with our friends who have kids and we love getting to be in their kids' lives, we're also talking a lot about making sure that we still have friends and people around us who are also choosing to be child-free, and how that's something that will continue to be more and more important as we get older, because when we were in our 20s and even our early 30s, lots of our friends didn't have kids yet, and so it didn't really matter. We could still relate on a lot of things, and our lives still felt very similar and just like the phase that we were at. But it's not really feeling like that anymore. It feels like we've kind of entered this new territory, this new sort of phase of being adults. And so it's something that we're a lot more aware of and talking a lot more about.
Yeah, definitely. I think also the fact that like a lot of our friends who do have kids, they're not babies anymore. So, they're in activities, they've got things going on, they're in maybe school. And that changes a lot as well because, it kind of turns, if people have one or two kids, they've got this little foursome of this is our family, this is our priority, as it absolutely should be.
Yeah.
But it's no longer like, hey, let's spontaneously get together or
having like friends be the focus, because it's family is the focus. And like you've said before too, it's so natural for parents to make friends with other parents because you're taking your kids to activities, they're in school, you're constantly around other parents,
same place, same time, kind of thing.
And you have lots in common with your kids are the same age, and so like obviously that is so natural and that makes a lot of sense. And so we do feel our friendships kind of shifting and changing, which totally makes sense, and we're just more aware of it, and we're more aware of making sure that we have strong friendships with people who are also choosing to not have kids, just to make sure that we have that same sense of like community moving forward, because it does, I don't know, it does feel different, like the age that we're at now, it does feel different.
Yeah, especially with things like holidays or like nights out or meals together. It is nice to have that bond with people who are kind of in the same place as we are.
Yeah. I think everyone needs that, right? And that's why parents kind of gravitate toward one another. It's because you want to relate on parenthood, and that's such a unique experience, and it's such a big, like, life-changing experience. So everyone wants to find other people who like relate to that and understand it. And we're finding that we want to make sure that we have strong relationships with other people who can like relate and understand our life, so that we're not always feeling like we're the odd ones out, because we're also a queer couple, and so we often already feel like we are the different ones, and we are like, like the odd ones out all the time. And so this is just like another thing that kind of makes us feel like that.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things we've been talking about a lot lately, especially because we just got through the holidays, is that we do really need to prioritize us as a family.
Yeah.
And often to the rest of the world, a couple is not necessarily seen as a complete family unit. Mm-hmm. So, you know, to a lot of people, we might seem like, oh, well, we're flexible and we can show up at any time, at any moment. We're always available to be there for other people and their families, but we're not a real family, if that makes sense.
Yeah, or that we don't need time just for our family.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, you know, like, what would it look like if we had kids? Like, what would holidays look like? What would these things look like? And we would be doing what other people are doing, and we would be prioritizing time with our family.
Yeah.
And, you know, recognizing that we haven't been doing that because we've chosen not to have kids, and how all those things, yeah, look different. And so one of our goals for this year is to really prioritize our family, the two of us and Theo, and make sure that that's a priority, and that everyone else knows that that's a priority, and that we're setting aside that time, and making sure that, yeah, for like holidays and things like that, that we have our own traditions just for us, because, you know, one day, like we are going to be the constant, and this family is going to be the constant, and like, you know, we're going to lose our parents one day, and we're like, other family isn't going to be around, and we want to make sure that we prioritize this the same way that we would if we'd chosen to have kids. And I think that's something that we'd never really realized or talked about until recently.
Well, I think for most people, there's a very clear shift in when that change occurs, and it's when people have kids.
Yeah.
You know, so they might be the young single one, or, you know, in a relationship, or even in a marriage, but they're available to like be there for the family visits and the family traditions and things like that, the greater family, I mean. But then when they have kids of their own, it's like, oh, well, you want to start your own traditions. You want to do your own thing with your family.
Yeah.
And we never had that definite shift or that moment that kind of made that shift occur. Yeah. And so now, in hindsight, we're kind of looking and realizing that we never made that change or vocalized that change, communicated that change to anyone else. So it makes sense that they would still be treating us the way that we've kind of always done things.
Yeah.
But it is important to, you know, to make sure we're setting that time for ourselves, and also tell the people around us that, you know, this is our family, and this is what our family is going to look like.
Yeah.
Always. So we do need to do family things the way that people with kids would do family things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's been a really important realization that we just recently have. And it is also like, looking to the future and looking at how things are going to look in 10, 20, 30 years. And it is really different when you don't have kids. And I think, making sure that we really prioritize us. I think that's kind of the bottom line.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of hard to see yourself as a real adult.
It is, even at our age, I know.
Yeah,
it is.
Because
it is
you
really
go
hard.
to these, you know, family functions and things, and it's like you're just there in the same way that you were there when you were 18, because to them, nothing has changed.
Yeah, and we're both the youngest too, so it does just feel like
we're the babies.
Yeah, we'll
always be the babies. Yeah.
And I feel like for other people, I look at them, and I know lots of people who are parents say that they still don't feel like grown-ups either, but I look at other people and it's like, oh, but once you are a parent, you must feel like an adult.
You have all these responsibilities.
But we definitely don't feel like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Another thing we've talked a lot about is just sort of how society views like parenthood and motherhood as such a celebration, and like celebrates it so much, which obviously we should. But for people who don't have kids, who choose not to have kids, and they're happy about that decision, like us, it's just kind of this realization that like we know that nothing we do or achieve in life will ever be like celebrated as much, or even respected as much, or seen as like as important or as special as having kids. And that is a hard pill to swallow, because obviously we have things that we want to achieve, and things that we have achieved, and things that we really care about. And because we're choosing not to have kids, it means that we have more time and more capacity to do other things in our life that mean a lot to us. And just knowing that those things will never really be celebrated by everyone else in the way that us announcing we were going to have a baby would be celebrated, I find that really hard. That's probably the thing I find the most difficult about choosing not to have kids. That's the thing I find the hardest.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way like we as a society celebrate things in general is we prioritize, you know, relationships, when people get married, when people have kids. So like those are the things that are celebrated above everything else.
Yeah.
Above promotions, above big, you know, projects, you know, work moves or individual successes.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
And while I absolutely believe that we should celebrate love and relationships and birth and kids and life, I also think that we should also be celebrating other achievements and other success and things like that. You know, there are plenty of people who choose to remain single, and they probably feel like they miss out on all of the celebrations because we're not attending their wedding and throwing a big party for a relationship when they're perfectly happy being single. So I think it is fine to celebrate those things, but it is also great to celebrate people for achievements that they have outside of love and relationships and kids.
Definitely. Yeah, that's something I think we've talked a lot about just over the past year, over the past few years, and knowing that that's something, you know, that's news we're never going to share. That's something we're never going to celebrate. That's something that, you know, our friends and family and loved ones will never celebrate for us. And so when we do big things in life and the things that are important to us and are a big deal to us, like those are the things that are like equal to announcing a pregnancy or something like that. And it's like we want everyone to be as excited as we are and as excited as they would be if we shared that news.
Yeah, it's our big news.
Yeah, but like naturally people aren't, and it is something that we've had to come to terms to, knowing that like it'll only ever be like the most important to us, and like we have to learn how to celebrate ourselves and celebrate those things together and know that we don't need that from everyone else. But it is something that's just interesting, I think, like you said, about the way society celebrates different people's milestones and achievements in general. And yeah, I do find that to be the hardest part, I think.
I guess the only caveat would be when, you know, it's the Academy Awards and we're celebrating big performances in acting.
True.
We should all have an Academy Awards for all of our achievements and celebrate the way we celebrate big Hollywood movie stars.
Yeah, I would like to thank my this person, my that person. Yeah, that's very true. So yeah, I think it is important that we continue to like talk about these things with each other and like just be open about it, because it is something that's gonna feel really different in different phases of life, and that's something that we're trying to like prepare for and anticipate and know that now that we're where we're at in life, it's feeling different than it did, you know, 5 years ago, and it's going to continue to feel different in different phases, and we want to make sure that we're doing what we can to support ourselves and feel good, because we still feel very good about our decision. We still know that it's absolutely the right decision for us.
Yeah, and while of course we are planning on prioritizing our family, and that includes little Theo here, we do know that, you know, we're in a unique position to have the capacity to, you know, be there for our friends' kids, and we can do both of those things, and that's a really great thing. And like I'm so happy with our decision because it's what's right for us, and it means that we can have our family and we can also be someone special in the lives of the kids around us, and I feel really, you know, happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, while there are definitely things about it that are difficult and things that we're having to navigate, it's still 100% the right decision for us, and we've never regretted it or felt like we were going to change our minds or anything like that. It's definitely what feels right, and like you said, it puts us in a really kind of special position to be able to be there for people in a way that we wouldn't be able to if we had our own kids, but still also be able to prioritize our own family, and that's a really nice position to be in.
Yeah, this can be such a tricky thing to talk about because, of course, we, you know, don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. We don't want to offend anyone. This is obviously our personal decision and our choice and what's right for us. And we are by no means making any statements about what anyone else should or shouldn't do.
No.
We respect all decisions, but, you know, it can be a tough thing. There are certain expectations, especially on women, and we do feel like there's pressure, and it can be sometimes a bit of a tricky thing to talk about and to navigate. And
I know, I think we always have a hard time filming these videos because it's like we want to be careful with how we word it, but then it's like we overthink what we're saying. because we don't want to come across like judgmental or anything like that. And we also don't want to come across like we think queer couples can't or shouldn't have kids, because absolutely, you know, if we wanted to have kids, I think that would be a really beautiful thing, being us and getting to raise kids with a queer family, and all of our queer friends who are having kids we're so happy for, and I think that's amazing. It is hard to talk about, you know, having this decision and being happy about it, because I think a lot of time people think couples who don't have kids like wanted to and couldn't, and there is something, yeah, to be said about like choosing it and being happy about that choice, and being able to talk about being happy about that choice without feeling guilty, or without feeling like people are going to think you're a bad person, or you hate children, or you're selfish, or all these things that are stereotypes about people who choose not to have kids, especially for women. And so it is hard to talk about, and that's another reason why we try to talk about it, because hopefully having these conversations can help to kind of, you know, destroy some of those stereotypes. I think that's really important.
Yeah. So please join us in having these conversations.
Yeah.
You know, let us know where you're at. Again, we respect all decisions.
Yeah.
And know that a lot of people are at, you know, different stages in their life and are at different places in their decision making around this topic in particular.
Yeah, because it's also okay to not know yet, right?
Totally,
To
yeah.
not decide. We have some friends in that boat, and like totally valid. So we would love to hear your thoughts, and hopefully you watched the whole video and you heard everything with the context that we gave it, before you give us your thoughts. But yeah, I think for anyone else who's in our position who, you know, has made their decision and you feel good about it, but you are also finding that some of the things, you know, to navigate are a bit tough, I think our best advice would just be to like talk about it, and like talk about it with other people who are also choosing to remain child free, and also talk about it with people who do have kids, so that they can better understand your experience, because I think that's important too. And we probably could do a better job of having those conversations like directly with the people in our life who do have kids, so that they can better understand our experience. And I think for anyone watching who is a parent, I think, yeah, hopefully it's valuable for you to know the perspective of a couple who has chosen not to have kids, and some of the things that are difficult that come along with that, because I hope that we can all learn to celebrate one another's choices in life better than we do currently. So
yeah, and celebrate everyone's achievements, whatever they look like.
Yeah. Celebrate parenthood and also celebrate other things. Oh, you're so cute. Theo says this video is over. So I think we'll end it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Give us your thoughts, and if you want, more chats on this topic, it's something that we do feel passionately about discussing. So happy to talk more about it.
Yeah. So please give this video a like if you liked it, and let us know if you want more videos on this topic. We will do our best in having these discussions if you want more of them. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.